You finally open up that old, forgotten cabin. You grab a broom to clear out the winter cobwebs, and as you sweep, you take a deep breath. You probably don't think twice about the dust motes dancing in the sunbeams. But that single, mundane act of breathing in disturbed air is the exact mechanism that triggers an infection from one of the world's most severe zoonotic pathogens, hantavirus. This map shows how the virus causes two distinct diseases depending on geography. In Europe and Asia, it leads to hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. In the Americas, it triggers Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, a condition with a fatality rate reaching up to 50%. Unlike the cinematic plagues that emerge from exotic jungles, this threat hides entirely in everyday life. It survives and spreads by hitching a ride on common household rodents, like the seemingly harmless deer mouse. Mice and rats have a unique biological quirk when it comes to this pathogen. They carry the virus chronically throughout their entire lives, but they never actually get sick from it. While the host goes about its business, it continuously sheds live viral particles into the surrounding environment through its saliva, feces, and urine. The waste eventually dries out. When it is physically disturbed, like by a sweeping broom or a heavy footstep, that dried material snaps apart, launching a cloud of viral particles into the air. Inhaling these floating, aerosolized particles is the primary and almost exclusive way humans contract the disease. There is exactly one known exception to this rule. The Andes virus, a specific strain found in South America, has documented cases of spreading directly from person to person. Ultimately, this pathogen is an environmental hazard. It relies entirely on a physical, mechanical action, like disturbing settled dust, to cross the threshold from an animal host into a human airway. Once those viral particles enter the human lungs, they lock onto a highly specific target, vascular endothelial cells. These are the specialized cells that line the inside of our blood vessels. The virus doesn't destroy this tissue. It binds to cellular receptors, pulling apart the tight junctions, locking neighboring cells together. With these bonds broken, the highly permeable blood vessels leak massive amounts of fluid into surrounding body cavities. In pulmonary cases, this fluid rapidly fills the lungs, causing the patient to drown from the inside. In the renal syndrome variant, that same leakage leads to severe kidney failure and internal hemorrhage. The pathogen's lethality comes entirely from this systemic structural collapse of the vascular system, rather than the outright destruction of your tissue. The incubation period masks this danger because the initial symptoms mimic the common flu. Doctors have to rely on rapid blood tests or molecular screening, like RT-PCR, to catch the infection early before organ failure sets in. There is currently no approved vaccine, and antiviral drugs show very limited effectiveness once the severe phases of the disease begin. The only reliable medical response is intensive supportive care. Physicians use mechanical ventilation and strict fluid management to keep the patient alive, hoping the body's immune system can eventually clear the infection. Once the virus establishes itself inside a human host, modern medicine can really only buy time. It cannot stop the pathogen directly. Because clinical treatment is entirely reactive, the true cure for this disease is neutralizing the threat before it ever becomes airborne. That starts with physically separating the reservoir hosts from human spaces by sealing structural entry points and actively trapping the rodents. When it comes to cleanup, avoid sweeping or vacuuming dry rodent droppings. Doing so provides the exact mechanical force needed to weaponize the virus. The scientifically backed approach requires wearing an N95 respirator mask and thoroughly soaking the contaminated area with a bleach or disinfectant solution before wiping anything up. The liquid physically weighs the dust down, preventing it from floating. At the exact same time, the bleach goes to work chemically shredding the virus's fragile outer lipid envelope, completely neutralizing it. Understanding the biology of the rodent and the physics of the dust, we possess the exact tools needed to break the chain of infection and